Nice. Liam's shoes can fit what? Nana's feet? I don't doubt it, man. Nana's got little lady feet. What's up, y'all? Cliff here from Not Gospel Studios. I told you it was coming. We are on our way to church, and we've got 45 weeks left in 2024. I told you it was coming. If you guys are like, I got all the time in the world, we're at 45 already. Big things are happening for Not Gospel Studios. We've been trying to push towards our goals, and one of our goals, and I didn't share this with you guys, was to break ground on a new studio situation so we can start delivering more content on the YouTube channel, pushing our creativity level and just pushing what we do and the quality of what we do to the next level in 2024. And I'm excited to say that we have purchased plans, that we're in the process of breaking ground this year for a new studio situation for Not Gospel Studios. So I'm excited about that. And that was one of my goals. And I was telling you guys that I'm being very conscientious this year of trying to meet my goals and taking it week by week. There's 45 weeks left, like we said, to get those goals done in 2024. I don't do tons of political stuff anymore, but I saw something online. Russell Brand, I saw a little video when I was scrolling one day on YouTube, and he was talking about how Joe Rogan no longer sees himself in the left. Joe Rogan identifies as independent. Why this is relevant, why this is significant, is because Joe Rogan just so happens to be the #1 most popular, most influential voice in independent media right now. And we're going to talk about what that means. This is our On the Way to Church video. This is not gospel. So what does it mean if Joe Rogan identifies as independent? He no longer identifies on the left. He doesn't see himself fitting in the right and the values demonstrated in the right. What this means is that both of our most popular political parties, and honestly, both of the parties that really have a shot at winning this election, the presidential election, neither one of them can capture the heart and the voice and the message of the most influential media personality out there today. I call him the most influential media personality because we all know legacy media is starting to decline. More and more people are losing faith in legacy media. They've seen, and I hate to use this quote, but when it's true, it's true. Truth is truth. Fake news is out there. They've seen too many times the fake news stories be debunked over and over and over. You've got numerous stories, the way they handled COVID, the way they handled the vaccines, the way they handled the Biden laptop story, the way they've handled all of Biden's business dealings, the way they've tried to propagandize one side of the aisle and then promote another side of the aisle. People have been fed up with legacy media. And I'm not just calling out, CNN or NBC, and I'll call out Fox too. People have left these big media outlets and are listening more and more to Tucker Carlson's, the Joe Rogans, and many more independent media personalities. They're listening to these people who used to be heavily aligned with one side or the other of the aisle, left or right, and now they find themselves in the middle with no home in our politics. This is a little bit scary, I feel like, because what this is going to do is it's going to rip people away from left and right and shove them into the independent vote and the independent slot. And some people may say, well, why is that scary? That's probably a good thing. We could use an independent candidate. Well, I don't think it's a good thing, because although I personally am finding myself as like a more independent person when it comes politically, like how I feel and my values, like I'm one of those leave me alone, I'll leave you alone guys. I'm a Jesus believer, so I will share the gospel of Jesus with you. If you don't believe it, the Bible tells me to kick the dust off my feet and move on. It's like, you don't believe Jesus? Cool, I've done my part. I love you. I'm going to try to live Jesus' teachings in front of you, hopefully, so that maybe one day you can be with me in heaven and we can kick it with Christ. But I'm good. I'm not going to sit there and force it down your throat. That's not who I am. I'm a leave you alone, I'll leave you alone, you leave me alone kind of person. I believe in freedom, and I believe in the right to defend that freedom. That's another thing. And I don't see myself completely in the left or the right. I see myself as an independent, because more often than not, the reforms that I'd like to see in the country, a right-wing president isn't going to get those reforms done. They're not going to reform the school system the way they should. They're not going to reform business to where communities can support one another the way they should. They got a lot of good things, in my opinion, a lot of good things. We saw 4 years of Trump versus 4 years of Biden, but that doesn't mean they got it all right. So I'm seeing myself, kind of more positioned in the middle. But am I going to vote independent in this election? This is why I feel like so many people seeing themselves independent right now at this moment is dangerous. I'm not going to vote independent. And I would encourage everyone not to vote independent right now. The reason I say this is because I said a couple years back actually, maybe it was last year. I don't want to get too crazy and ahead of myself. But I said that I like this Kennedy fella. I like him. But I feel like he's almost a plant. I feel like his whole goal is to just steal votes away from the other parties, knowing he's not going to win. Because there was no way he was going to get the Democrat ticket. He was too strong on vaccines. He was too strong on the shot and the jab, and he was too strong on certain ideals. But there's no way he was going to get the Republican vote either. So we knew from the get-go, more or less, that he's not going to gain enough momentum to take Biden out of the seat. So in reality, he's just going to be an independent. And his popularity and the popularity of voices like Joe Rogan, who identifies as an independent, means that this year we could see a massive upswing in independent votes. On the surface, that's a good thing. Both parties are jacked up. Both parties are riddled with corruption. Maybe an independent candidate is the way to go. But here's the problem. There's just simply not enough votes that are going to go that way for an independent candidate to legitimately win. There's just not. There's not enough votes for that to happen right now. And so what's going to happen, I feel like, is that this Kennedy fella is honestly, because of the way he's took stances on the jab and the way he's took stances on independent business and all this stuff, I feel like he'll simply pull more votes away from the right and less votes away from the left. And why is that a problem to me? It's a problem to me because we've seen what 4 years of Trump look like, and we've seen what 4 years of Biden look like. I'm not like a crazy Trump fella. I'm not all in on Trump. He's the greatest. He doesn't capture my heart the way he does a bunch of other conservative people. But let's be real. 4 years of Trump was infinitely better than 4 years of Biden. These 4 years with inflation and the way we handled the Afghanistan pullout and just war, we didn't start any wars under Trump. And now we've got Ukraine war, freaking war in the Middle East again, Israel, all this stuff. And the craziness at the border. I mean, so many people just flooding over, not coming through a legal port of entry. If they want to seek asylum, they can come through a legal port of entry. Instead, they're pouring through under fences and all illegally coming into this country. And the money that's being spent to protect them and to provide services for them, taxpayer dollars, none of this would happen under Trump. We'd have a much better border situation. We'd have much better relations across the board, like international relations in the Ukraine and Russia and all these places. This would be that we saw it before already. So the reality is there are a few people who are going to vote on the left who will look at a Kennedy candidate and be like, you know what, I'll vote for him because I don't want to vote for Biden. But if Kennedy wasn't there, those people that aren't going to vote for Biden would probably vote for Trump, even though they don't agree with all of his policy, because they know we can't stand another 4 years of Biden. Kennedy's going to pull potential right side voters away from the right because he's going to give these people who know we can't handle another Biden election, people like Joe Rogan, he's going to give them an option that's not going to win. It'll be a failure option. It's a fake option because he can't win. He's not going to get enough votes. He's going to give them a fake option to dump their vote into instead of putting it on the right, which means the left will win again. We'll have another 4 years of the Biden puppet administration, and this country is going to get worse and worse for 4 years. You guys can let me know what you think about this, if you're thinking about voting independent, if you don't think any of it matters. The reality is I do believe the whole system is out to get us. Let's be real, left or right, wherever you stand, government is not having the people's best interest. They're having the interest of their donors. They're having the interest of getting more dollars in their pockets. I understand this. But your only influence, even if it's minuscule, on the power structure is voting. That's it. Instead of seeing us get more and more entrenched in the Biden garbage that has went down for the past 4 years, Trump having to spend the first 2 years of his presidency just trying to weave through all that and get through all that gunk to get us back to somewhere different would mean at the very least 4 years of Trump would not be so radical and so different that the country would get torn apart. At the very least, maybe we just get back on a better path. A little bit, just navigate it a little bit off this devastating path that we're on. So I guess the moral of this story is this. It's super interesting and a little bit unnerving if you don't got a good peace center, if you don't got a lot of inner peace in your core. It's a little bit unnerving to see a voice like Joe Rogan say he's aligned independent and perhaps is going to vote independent and perhaps promote a Kennedy candidate or something like that, because I believe it's simply just going to mean we're going to be stuck with another 4 years of Biden, which, gosh, nobody who's been paying attention, who's not been living under a rock for the past 4 years, nobody wants that. If you think it matters at all, I would say to think very carefully this year about whether or not you're going to vote independent. And honestly, look at an independent vote as if there are enough, if we believe this year, this 4 years, there are enough votes for an independent candidate for them to possibly win, then sure, vote, and maybe we'll be in a better spot. But if you don't, like me, if you don't honestly think right now in this moment there are enough votes to get an independent candidate elected, then putting your vote there right now this year is kind of throwing it away. And I would just think about whether or not you want to throw away your influence on the next 4 years of the country. It'll probably be the last time for the next, I don't know how many weeks that you'll hear me mention politics. But I just want to encourage you guys to go out and try to be better today than you were yesterday, whatever it is you're doing. To love your loved ones better, to deepen your relationships, and to take time. Here's something I've learned in this week. Take time every day in silence to meditate, to focus on your inner peace, on your core, on what that looks like, to get centered on who you are, knowing who you are, knowing that you're blessed, and knowing that you're going to take the steps every single day to get more and more fulfilled and more satisfied and more content with the blessings you're already living in. And if you're in the middle of a struggle right now and you're the kind of person who appreciates prayer, write that down in the comments. I would love to pray for you guys, and I will take it sincerely. I'm not somebody who says, oh, I'll pray for you and then doesn't do it. You know, I'll hit my knees, I'll fast and pray for you guys. And if God moves in your situation, if you are a kind of person, again, a faithful person who appreciates prayer, and God moves in whatever situation you have, tell us about it. Come back to the channel and let us know what happened. Love you guys. That's all I got for today. I'm at the church. Keep being awesome, because that's how God made you. If you like this clip from the Not Gospel Studios channel, don't forget to share. Click on one of the other links and videos. You can find them here and here, and subscribe. I think it's down here. Tell your friends about us. Tell them that it's healthy, that it's vegan, and all of those things. Keep being awesome, because that's how God made you.